welcome back to Last Cast. You catch us down at the river. It's the same river, but we're in a totally different location. We've never fished this location before. You have to excuse the noise because we've got an old bridge behind us, so there's going to be rattling as the day goes on. But first time we've fished this stretch, first time we've fished this. We've plumbed up already and it's a little bit snaggy, so we might have a bit of fun today. There's also quite a bit of extra water in. I don't know if you can pick that up from the camera, but there's a fair old current coming down. Even with our 7-ounce leads and big floats, we're struggling to hold in the middle, so we're going to have to fish this bay where there's a bit of a slack coming off these willows. Going to get the rods out. We've already plumbed up, as I say. I'm fishing full lamprey on both rods again. I'm just going to see how they go, and I might just cut the tails off them. Bob's, he's going with, I think, smelt on one and lamprey on the other. I'm going to get the baits in, get them defrosted. We've got our unhooking mat and everything laid out there, and the net's down the bank, so we're all set and ready to go. Setup is our standard setup, as I showed you the other week, but instead of the little bobber floats, we've got the big Pike Pro ones on, the one that we did the review on, that you'll see on our review channel. Let's get fishing and see what we can do. As I say, we've never fished it before. We've heard that there's some reasonable pike in here, but I think they're few and far between, and I don't think there's necessarily hundreds of jacks, so we're going to have to fish and see how we go. It'll be a bit of a video diary, give you updates as we go through the day. Let's get going and see how we do from there. So I'm going to get these rods in. I'm going to be fishing one rod literally just off the willows down to my right here, and then the other one just where the current starts to slacken off. What we appear to have in front of us here is, it seems to come deep down towards the bank, and then it seems to be a sandbank going up, and then the main channel seems to be right probably 3/4 of the way across the river, unless it's just shallow, but we're hitting a sandbank all the way along, and because of the sandbank and the current, we can't get the leads to hold bottom. So as I say, we're going to fish in this edge here. We'll get them in, and let's see if we can't get a few fish on the bank. Right, I'm going to get this out. I've got, as you can see, I've got full lamprey on, so it's a fair old thing, with tail end up. The reason I've done it like that is that, depending on how it reacts in the water, I'll cut the end of the tail off. If not, then I'll sort of leave it in there, and then standard sort of set up from that point of view. We're fishing off the top of the bank because of the current. We want as little line as possible in the water so that we get less drag. So we're up here, but then we've got a lovely spot down here just to net everything that we catch. And as you can see, there's a fair bit of wood coming down the rivers. So we'll get this one in down the edge here, and let's see what we can't do. What I'm going to do is overcast it and then wind it back to where I want it. That's probably the best way to do it. Bit of a slap there. And then that looks about right. Bail arm off. Oh, I'm just under the surface there. There must be a little bit of a hole. I'll bring it in a little bit further. There we go. Spot on. Let's get that into the rest. And just take that slack out. Because I'm right up against these willows, I want instant indication, so I've literally wound it pretty tight, so the line's going down, float, stop, and then straight through the float. So if I get any indication on there, I should be able to get into it before whatever's there gets under that willow and into a bit more of a snag. The other one here, I'll do the same again. I'll overcast it from where I'm going to be, and then wind it back in. Right. Actually, let's see how that settles there. Now let's bring it in a little bit. Let me just see how that does. Right, happy with those two. So I got them relatively tight because we don't know what's down here. As I say, could be well snaggy under the edge there, so two in a good proximity, get a bit of smell going down. We've got some boats and stuff to the other side of the willows here, so if there's anything sat under there, we want all this smell wafting down. I think Bob's is going to get his in now, and let's see if we can't get a few fish on the bank. Speak to you in a minute. Right, we've been fishing this swim for a few hours now. I mean, we've literally blitzed it, you know, old pike blitz there, and nothing, not a knock, nothing. So what we're going to do is going to move up a few swims, get a reset up there, try a different peg, and then see how we go from there. But as I say, absolutely nothing, no taps, no nothing at the moment. So no point staying here for much longer. We've been here most of the morning. We'll get all the gear moved, get up to the next swim, and then I'll say hello again, and let's see if we can get some fish up there. Right, we've moved swims. We moved from down there. Number one, we weren't catching any fish, and number two, we ended up with every man and his dog that had a boat or a canoe decided to come and I think get themselves on camera, but they were all turning up, so it was a dead one. We've moved up here again. It's the first time we've fished this. We just plumbed up. This swim's probably twice the depth of the previous swim. Again, we can't hold out in the current, so it's a bit of a barrage of pike baits. So if there's anything in here, then there's a good chance we're going to hook into it. But as I say, same with me, lampreys on mine, smelt on Bobs's. We've got them in. Let's see what we can come up with and see what comes out of this one. But a bit more confidence in this swim than the last one, although I felt confident about the last one when we first got there. Right, speak to you soon. Right, we've been in this new swim for an hour now. Rods have been out, and to be fair, I thought we'd have had some inquiries, but we've had nothing. Although, looking at the water, it's come up about a foot since we've been here, so it's coming up a fair bit. Slack patch at the moment, nothing really doing. So what I thought we'd do is go back through all the tools, because obviously we've done it before, but it was tied onto another video. So I thought we'd do it as a bit of a separate, because ultimately, if you're going to go pike fishing, this is the bit that's really important, because it's all to do with pike welfare. Obviously, you've got to have your decent unhooking mat, as you see that we always use, which is up the bank on a flat patch, so that when we catch, or should I say, if we catch, we'll be shifting them up there and you know, doing what we do, and these will be there. Talk them through them. I mean, sharp knife. I mean, the main reason for your sharp knife is that really it's to do with your dead baits and stuff like that, rather than sort of pike welfare. First and foremost, I mean, you need forceps. I mean, there's sort of various forms. I mean, we've got these prowlers, which are a nice piece of kit, good quality, good for getting out big low hooks as well as dead bait hooks, etc. But it's one of those things. What we tend to do is also carry what I would say are sort of more standard forceps, and as you can see, we've got them in quite varying sizes. These are what Bob's always tends to carry with him, you know, his go-to forceps. Again, all right for getting out big low hooks, etc., as well as the small stuff, but it's sometimes a good idea to have the smaller pairs. I think you might have seen from one of our other videos, we further down on this river, and we ended up with a pike deep hooks, and we ended up using sort of all sorts from that point of view. So basically what you're looking at there is some form of getting the hook out. I personally like to use the sort of side hookers like that, and I've got some other bits and pieces that are sort of similar. I just find it easier to use. You get a good bit of pressure on there, and you're in and out. But what it also means is, rather than your hand being in the way and in an awkward position, I just find it easier. But again, it's sort of down to the individuals. I mean, those for all intents and purposes are the same thing, just in different formats. And obviously the prowlers look better because they're black. But you know, from that aspect, as I say, pretty much same heads on them, same forceps. They've just got a bent handle on them, straight handle, and it's really whatever you find the easiest from that. The other thing, which again, I'll just get rid of some of these, is a must. And you know, you'll hear us stressing this all the time. You can't go pike fishing if you haven't got a good, decent set of cutters. This is sort of, on numerous occasions we've needed to use these. I mean, the best example of needing these was, we were on a canal last year. I think we might have been filming it, I don't know. We'd had a real crappy day, not a right lot came out of it, and then I just decided to have a chuck around with a jerkbait. Lo and behold, first cast with a jerkbait, 12-pound pike on the bank, really hammered it, and basically what we ended up with was, on the jerkbait there were two sets of trebles, and every single hook was in this pike's mouth. Had we just tried getting it out with the forceps or pulling it out, we'd have ripped the pike to pieces. What we basically did was, with our cutters, we cut off every single hook, and then what you do is you can then pull the hooks out point first with your forceps. You don't want to leave them in the fish, because ultimately you don't want a situation whereby, you know, it's swallowing them down and they're causing internal damage. So cut one off and then you take it out, cut one off and take it out. By the time we'd finished, we'd cut off 6 points, we'd cut all 5 of them off. And, you know, it's a few pence to change a hook, but that fish, you know, it's giving you the privilege of catching it. You know, you've got to give it the respect and put it back, because ultimately that's the fish that's going to be next year's stock, and the stock the year after and the year after that, and so on. So that one fish could end up being 100 fish. So again, respect them, but I can't stress it enough. You need a reasonable set of cutters. There's plenty around, all tend to be this sort of style. You only probably use them once in a blue moon, but when you use them, you're going to need them. They'll cut through the hooks, they'll cut through your line, they'll cut through the traces. You know, that's what they're there for. And the long reach ones, I mean, I have some short ones and some long ones, take sort of both, but in all honesty, the long reach ones are probably the best bet from that. So really, just to recap, you've got your various forms of unhooking pliers, from you know, the more heavy duty stuff to these. I mean, if you just buy in one set of pliers, get something like that, whether it's a side hook like that or whether it's that one. But you know, that's what you need. I mean, forceps and everything else are great to have, but as I say, if you don't want to be shelling out and buying loads of bits and pieces, you want a decent pair of unhookers like those, and you need your wire cutters. So literally, unhooking gear, you can get away with that. I mean, we've got all the extra bits and pieces, and I carry a full set as well, so we've double of everything, but that's basically what you need. Unhooking, cutting. Hopefully that sort of helps a few people out and giving them an idea as to what they need. But that's basically the gear that we use if we ever catch pike. So far this season, it's been Bob several, Brent nil. Right, I'll leave that with you, and let's get back to trying to catch pike. Right, well, a little update. Not a lot to say, to be honest. We've been here for another hour and still nothing. River's coming up and up though. I mean, since we got here this morning, it must have risen about 3 foot, and continuing to do so. But we'll stick it out, see what happens. Fill the gaps in. Just sort of talk through a couple of tips on, you know, basically how to put a dead bait on a hook. What we do, got a little fat roach here. Yeah, take your treble. I think, as I pointed out to you before, we use semi-barbless, which means that there's only a barb on one of the hooks. Now what we always do is put the bait tag on the barbed hook. It just helps. If you see our deep hooks video, it even helped to unhook it. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the one with the barb in, and it's going through the tail. You're trying to get it into that sort of bony section, if it'll go in. There we go. Make sure it's nice firmly into that, and then turn it round. So you've got that hooked into the tail. What you're then doing is taking the second one, and again with the bait tag on, and then just sticking it into its side, which is sort of down by its head from there. So as you can see, you've got that nicely hooked on from that point of view. What we do then is I mean, I've taken this off the rod just so that I can show you how it sets up. What we then do is we'll then pump them full of oil, and as with the other tackle that we tend to use, we use these Pike Pro winterized oils. A little tip, and it seems a bit of a strange one, but when I first started fishing with Bob's many moons ago, he used to do this. What you'll find is some people will just take off the needle protector and then put it in the pot and then suck the oil up through it. Now the problem with that is it takes forever and a day to do it. So simple little thing is, put your needle protector back on, take your needle off, then stick the syringe in the pot, and then just suck it up from there. A lot simpler and a lot quicker. Bob's would sit there for 20 minutes sucking it up the needle, as I did, to be fair, to start with. As I say, it's quite obvious, but it's just something that people might not do. Then you stick that back on, take off your protector. What you're then doing with the needle is, I mean, that one's come out, so I'll just rehook it in. Hooking it back in there. What you're basically trying to do with the needle is get it into the cavity of the fish, not the way through, and always hold it up or put it on the floor. Don't have it flat in your hand. And then you're just basically trying to pump the oil into the cavity of the fish. So there you go. And then just pull your needle back and then pop the needle protector on. So pretty simple, pretty basic, but again, you know, there's no point in us avoiding the obvious things. So that's how you do it, and that's what you end up with, loaded with oil, ready to go out. Just reattach it to your rod and then get it out. This one's for Bob's, so let's let him get it on and get it cast out. Well, been an eventful day of absolutely nothing. We've had a few taps, but in all honesty, I don't think they were pike. I think they're probably eel or perch or chub or something like that. But it's just been one of those days. I mean, the river's come up probably 3 or 4 foot since we've been here. Very coloured, a lot of debris going down it. We can't fish like we normally do, where we've got out in the deep channel, purely and simply because even with 7-ounce leads and these big floats, we just can't hold bottom with it. It's just tramming through that much. But it's been a day out. I mean, that's why it's called fishing and not catching. Probably what we'll do is tag this one together with some others, which hopefully will have fishing and won't be just a YouTube video full of blanks. But yeah, it's been a glorious day out in the country. Thoroughly enjoyed ourselves yet again. Would have been nice to get a few pike on the bank, but as we all know, that's an added bonus, and we ain't had that added bonus today. So far we've got Bob's catching loads, and he's caught a massive one, which will be appearing on one of our videos. It's not this sort of video of this sort of quality and this sort of professionalism, because he was on his GoPro and he was talking a load of crap, but it's a cracking fish, and that'll be getting released soon on the channel, so keep an eye out for that one. We'll call it a day here now, get packed up, and we'll see you next time. Hey up, and welcome back to Last Cast. We're on a gravel pit today, so we're doing things a bit differently. I've fished this in the past and been successful with basically ledger rigs. I've got drop-offs and Delkims from a sound point of view, so that you're getting the notification on it. We've got a bit of wind brewing, and it appears to be coming into our faces, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know at this stage, but the basic setup is exactly the same as I showed you in the past, but there's no float on it, so there's no plumbing up, etc. It's just straight out and down. Little slider with the boom section on. Sometimes when I fish here, I also instead of having the slider, I'll just crimp the 3 or 4 SSGs onto the trace to get it down, but because we've got a bit of wind brewing today, gone a little bit heavy with that, and then straight into the boom, and then obviously into the connector, which then goes straight into the trace with the fish and all the rest of it. So it's pretty straightforward setup, as I say, exactly the same as we normally use. Bob's is going to persevere with his floats on our standard rigs and see how we go from there. Average depth here probably, I mean, it goes anything from sort of a few feet down to probably 12 foot as deep as it gets. In the past there's been some pike around. I haven't fished it for a little while, so don't really know where we're at and what's happening with it. Let's get them out. I mean, I'm going to be using different baits for me today. I've got a couple of herring that I'm going to start with. Reason for those is purely and simply that when I fished this in the past, I've used mackerel and stuff like that, and sort of oily sea baits, and they've always been very successful. I've got my obligatory lamprey, which, in all honesty, if these don't work for a few hours, then I'll be switching over to my full or 3/4 lamprey and just see how we go from there. So let's get these out, let's get the day moving and see what we can come up with. Right, I've got one out near the island, and the other one I'm just going to get straight out into the open water here and see how we go from there. So that'll do. Hit the bottom. Let's get it onto the rest. Tighten it up. Right, there we go. Got my drop offs. I just use on the other opposite side to the bite alarm. And so if it's coming towards me, it goes down, sets the alarm off, and then the alarm on the other side. I think that might have been a little of an inquiry on the other one. Right, Bob's has shown me up yet again. Just got a little jack on the lure. We're having a little break from Deadbaits, and he's just hooked up on a little jack. It's, I won't say it, it's a nice lean fish, because I always say that by all accounts. But it's a nice lean fish. What's it, does it eat? It looks well fed-ish, doesn't it? Excellent. Little Abu.
Micro pike, but
Hey, it's a 20 for the future. It's tidy, clean, and not lean.
clean, man.
Yeah. Right, just a quick update. I'm on for a third blank, and I'm really happy about that. Bob's has saved his blank with a nice little lean fish, as I always say. Nice little jack pike on the old lure rod when we got a bit bored with the dead baiting. Still time to go, and we've fished this here before and had nothing all day, and then finished on a 20. So still in with a chance, although the weather's turning against us. But yeah, we'll keep cracking on, and hopefully I can catch a fish. I think I blanked the end of last season, and I ain't caught a pike since. So technically, including the one at the end of last season, I've 4 blanks back to back. But hey, that's life. No doubt I've got a 30 waiting for me at some point this year. But hey ho, we'll crack on. Just as a PS, I'm trying to break Bob's record. He had 7 blanks back to back last year. But then, to be fair, he wiped them out by catching 2 nice 20s back to back straight afterwards. So fingers crossed that's what's going to happen to me. But right here, right now, I've had 3 blanks this year, including this one, and won the end of last year. So fingers crossed. And if anybody wants to apply to be a presenter, then write into Bobble TV, because by the looks of it, I will be out of a job. See you soon. Right, well, we're on. Looks like we're up for a blank. Well, I'm saying a blank, we're not, but Bob's had a little jack pike earlier on. We've had nothing on the dead baits, no knocks, no nothing. It's chucking it down. Bob's just sat under the thing keeping dry. I'm desperately trying to catch a pike now on low to see if I can save a blank. Otherwise it's 3 back to back. But see if I can save a blank here. We're out again next week, but there's about 5 or 6 of us back on our favourite river, so fingers crossed. We know where we're going and we know what we're doing there, so we should have some fish on the bank. So I'll get on with this, and we'll see you when we get out on the river next week. Right, welcome back to Last Cast. Your catcher's back on the river. Hopefully this time I'm going to actually catch a pike and not nearly catch some eels. Going to be fishing lamprey. I'm going to start off with full lamprey and might cut them down depending on how the hookup goes or whether we're getting any bites, etc. Going to have one over on the sandbank and then another one out in the deeper water. Bob's the cameraman, 2 rods here. He's going to be out in the main channel and then one down there. I think he's got, yeah, it looks like skimmers or bream or something on there. So we've also, there's about 6 of us on today. There's a couple of mates further up the bank here. One ledger in with sprats, and then we've got somebody further up with lures, and then Marius is fishing further down. Casper, as I say, his son's up there on the lures. Got a good feeling today. The problem we've got is that I've now had 5 blanks back to back, and Bob's his record, the cameraman, 7. So it set me a challenge that if I end up with more than 7, I've got to do an episode of this in a dress. Where the hell they're going to get a dress to fit me, I've no idea. And fingers crossed that doesn't happen, because I don't think that will be a good one for YouTube, although it'd probably go viral and global and be the biggest hitting one we've ever had. You know, weirdo goes pike fishing and all that. So really, really important that I get something on the bank today, whether it's that big or that big. As long as it's a pike, then I'm not wearing a dress. If it's not a pike, then I'm wearing a dress. But 2 more episodes to get one in, so let's get these rods out. I've got a good feeling we'll get these out and we'll get fishing and see what we come up with. Alright, let's get that one out that way. Happy with that there. Get it down. There we go, bait runner on. Let's see what happens. Get this one out a little bit deeper. Come on, Mr. Lamprey. No, want to be a bit further out than that with that one. So let's get it in. So we've already plumbed up, hence the reason we've obviously got our things on. It's got a bit of a snag there. One of my hooks has come out, so just rehook it. That's unusual for a lamprey to do that. Get it in. Get it in. Right. Yuck. Horrible things. Let's get that one out. That's more like it. Happy with that. Oh, see where that goes. Yep, we stopped. Get some of that. There we go. We're in. Is he in the one? Yeah. Hey? Which one? Hey? Nice. Yeah, he's into it. Nice one, John boy. That close in?
Not telling you. Secret.
Is it a good one? That's a good fish. Yeah.
It's like JB's into a nice fish here. I think it's his new PB, and it's been, you look at its tail, it's been ottered. Looks like it's quite recent. I know we have seen otter tracks about, but might be 18, 19 pound, maybe 20 that one.
What birthday present for you, JB?
And it's his birthday. I think that's the biggest, nicest one I've seen come out for a while here.
Look at its tail though. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been ottered.
Don't know what sound it'll be like.
Quickly. Oh, it's not just stick it to. In 19 summer. Oh, 16.5. Oh, we're on 16.4.
That's the thing with pike, isn't it? You never show how big they are. It looks bigger than that to me. It's got nice colours on it, shame about its tail, but well done, John boy. Got some running clips.
Right, we've got a good take here. And we're in. Jesus, that went off like a rocket. It's off. Yeah, lost it. Jesus, did you see that go?
Chub.
You think?
When they go like that, it's chub.
Yeah, it's not a pike, that is it?
Yeah. That was chub, that. Definitely a chub bite.
Oh God. Well, people, that was a chub bite and a half. Just had a right chub bite. You can't hear us, can they, because it wind? I'd have said that was a decent fish to go on like that. I've never had that.
All chub I've had has always done that.
Didn't hang around, did it? Well, folks, no rest for me. Just nipped around the corner here. Got myself, it's only a little one, but nice little fish. So let's get it unhooked and get it back in. Steady on, little fish. These big hooks. Can't really see because it's only a smallish one. Thank you, fish. Make sure. Yes. Now I'm stuck in the mud. Whew. Thank you, little fish. That's it. It was a good fish as well. Oh, bugger. You see it? Yeah. Looks like we've got some action here. Let's just have a look. Turn the bait runner off. I think that's moving out. Let's see. What do you think?
I didn't see any bite.
Yeah. And we're in. We're in. And we're out. For crying out loud.
You know why?
It's twisted itself up. Pike. See it cuts in it.
The hand felt up
Hey, no it hasn't.
because it's bent over. I think it's just not there.
See where it's cut
That's why
it?
it was a weird bite, because it's wrapped up in your bait.
Bugger.
I think it felt there.
Right, we've just had one on there and lost it. Somehow the bait had wrapped around itself, but it doesn't look like it's felt the hook. So let's get it back out in the same spot and see if we can't get it again. It was about there, wasn't it? Bugger. Right, I think that wraps up the day. We've had one or two fish between us. John Boy's had the biggest one of the day. I think it was 16.4. There's been another 12 come out further down from one of our guys. I managed to catch a nice 2-pounder and not have to wear a dress. So result from that point of view. It's been hard work. I mean, this spot normally will give us, you know, a good 6 or 7 fish a day. But it's just not been happening today. I don't know whether it's not warm enough, or, sorry, it's not cold enough, or what the situation is. But it hasn't worked from that. But we've not blanked. You know, we've had a few fish. We've got them in. We've showed you them. We've lost a couple. We've had a chub run. So usual eventful day. But that's pike fishing for you. If you like what you see, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on Last Cast.
Right. There's some interest on this one here. I don't know if you can see it. That was very fast. Not even got the singing yet. Got a strike. It's on, but don't feel anything big. It's a fish. It's ponding about. I think it was running hard. Might be bigger than I thought. Keep the lights out, I'll have to get under here. 5 minutes that. On the roach. It's not a bad one. Can't see the blue trace. I think it's wrapped itself. Ooh, it's a big bugger this. Could be 20 pound. Could be a 20 this one. I ain't got my scales. Oh, this is a big fish. This is a monster. Right, to compose myself now. I could see the hooks. Can't believe that. It's 20 pound that. I've got no scales though, as per usual. That is a beast. Right, getting it out now.
And I've got my bait back. Knew it'd be awkward getting it out of here. Gotta lift it up sort of there. Right. Within 10 minutes, look at the size of that bloody head. That's my bait. This could be it. Really. Flick. Got to be careful with that hook. Right. You gotta do this proper. Can see the hooks. Get this out of the net. Oh, there you go. 10 minutes of fishing in a new venue. Look at the size of that head. That is one big fish. That's well over 20. I ain't got my scales, so can't be 100% positive, but anyone says it ain't, it's the biggest head I've ever seen on a pike. It's very well behaved. Look at the size of that thing.